I'm the co-founder of the film festival with Kurt Chandler, who has passed away in February. It was an idea that we got when we walked into the Roland Theater. Actually, he lived in Phillipsburg, so he knew that area really well, and he knew about the gem of the Roland Theater. He would really be the one to make sure, because I was relatively new here, that we involved lots of students on all levels. That was the mission from the very beginning, from people planning the film festival, even picking movies. They're all on our programming committee. We have a freshman seminar that picks the films. When we started talking about the fact that we're a college town, that just got us really excited, because the idea is to make sure that there's that intergenerational conversation. So at any time, a student could be in the same room with someone who just won an Emmy.
This was cool. It's really good. I was very impressed. Well, if up-and-coming filmmakers can be exposed to really good films, it'll only increase their excitement and energy about making their own films. So it's great to have it here, because I think that in addition to the up-and-coming filmmakers, that folks should see films that are happening and that are coming from good film, like good young filmmakers.
I mean, listen, we're in Center County. You wouldn't expect this, but we have one of the cinema gems in the country, because it's never been cut up. We have a 110-year-old theater that, like, you walk in, you've been there, you walk in and it's basically a palace. It's absolutely stunning. So for me, a theater is a neutral space. So you bring in someone's story and you bring in a piece of content, and you have that conversation. Like, for example, we're showing Refuge, and we're bringing in someone who's a former white supremacist and someone who was a former Islam supremacist, and they actually work together and have been for like a decade to think about, okay, listen, we have hate. What do we do about it? And so I think it's in a theater that there's a great place for that conversation. There's no agenda, and it's really just about giving you the freedom to express yourself.
I'm interested in telling stories that are diverse and that looks at the humanity of all of us. And so I was like, I want to be a part of this. And I just kept loving that this was the opportunity that we got to have as diverse students at Penn State. The festival all week was incredible. There were a lot of opportunities for like after parties, a lot of great films. I got to see Holy Spider. That was life-changing, like incredibly. Getting to see all the directors and filmmakers get honored, and all the high schoolers and college students and freshmen who got to be a part of it. It's such a big event. Movies and films are meant to tell stories. And we were telling a lot of different diverse stories. Stories about the Holocaust, stories about lives in Iran, stories about Black lives, stories about football lives. It all exists for us. Those are our authentic stories and like livelihoods.
Part of being a film student is just like engrossing yourself in movies big and small, and to have such just a great venue to host both of those, especially all in 1 week, compact into all these different things put on, just to get all these different experiences, documentaries, which I don't get to see very often, narratives that aren't like Marvel movies, and just all kinds of different like walks of life when it comes to filmmakers. You walk in and then spend an hour and a half, and you could walk out with your life having changed. But this is just like the perfect, just like way to connect students like me who need broader tastes and experiences in films to these films. It's great. It's one thing to be able to see the movies, but to be able to talk to the filmmakers themselves, or the actors or producers, getting different perspectives.
And so the vision was always that. It was always that you could sit in the filmmakers lounge, meet filmmakers, you can maybe pitch ideas, you can ask them how they got started. As an educator, and this is everything we've been talking about, all the layers come together, where you don't know what you're gonna push as a button for somebody who's either 15 or in their 20s or already, an industry award-winning filmmaker. You just never know, and then pow, that spark is lit, and then off you go. A lot of students are making work that's going to be very relevant. I think it's extremely important for them to know that they have a platform to tell their stories. It just gives you this idea of, how am I going to have to hone my craft so that I can tell the story I want to tell? And it gives you the idea that everyone's got a story to tell.